Have you ever had negative thoughts that you just couldn't shake, and day after day you thought about them over and over again, even though you wanted to change for the future? Are you a teacher? Have you ever had some thoughts about your students and you realized that they weren't the most positive, but you just couldn't help but feeling the same way, feeling like the student would never change, and you would just build anxiety as you knew that the student was coming in the next few couple of minutes before the bell came? Where there's a lot to be said about making the people a prisoner of your own mind, because our thoughts create things, and the more anxiety that we have against it, the more energy that we're putting towards it. But we could change that anxiety into the positive energy, into anticipation, so then we can have the results that we really want. So in this video, I'm going to show how you can change your mind so you can change the things around you. And the first concept that you need to understand is that you make people a prisoner of your mind. And the mind is one of the most powerful things, because first you think it, and then you feel the way that it feels, and then it becomes things. So it goes from your brain to your heart to your hands, and then that's when it's transformed into what was already in your mind in the first place. So so you see it once, and then you do it, and it becomes that on the second time. And Neville Goddard talked about this in plenty of his lectures and a couple of his books, but he particularly got it from the Bible, where it says in 2 Corinthians 10, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So when it's talking about your imagination, that's the things that you create inside your head. That's what all an imagination is. If you think about what's going to happen to the future, you're believing because you be lying until you be living that imagination. So if you believe that you're going to get into a wreck and you need to do these certain precautions in order to avoid a wreck, because you put the word wreck into it, you're gravitating towards those things. So instead of saying, I want to avoid a wreck, just say, I am always safe. And then because you be lying, because it's never happened, the wreck hasn't happened yet, but you believe it now, eventually you will be living it, and that wreck will be able to come. If you're thinking about avoiding the wreck, take the word wreck out of it, because now that's in your imagination, and just say that I am always safe. And this goes for yourself personally, but then you also make other people a prisoner of your mind too. This is why that a lot of times when we have students, the way that if we really believe that they can do well and we're giving them positive energy in our own minds, we're going to act in a way that's going to bring that into fruition. So, are there some students that have some behavioral issues and you think that their parents don't care about them? When you try to call them, they don't answer, or they avoid your phone calls, or when they do pick up, they give you an attitude. Maybe it's because the way that you envision the conversation going ahead of time. So, how do you change the narrative that's going on inside your head so then the narrative changes outside and it goes in a more positive direction? Are you tired of being tired, of not having enough energy to last you throughout the day? Are you worn out at work, too drained to go to the gym, or too sluggish to play with your kids, and too tired to hang out with your friends and your family? Don't worry, you're not the only one. In fact, 1 in 3 Americans struggle with having enough energy to last throughout the day. But there's good news, because you can change all that by focusing on your gut health. Did you know that your gut has good and bad microbiomes that grow inside of it? And the more that you feed the good, the healthier and livelier that you feel. When you feed the bad ones over time, you start to feel bad, then sad, and it turns into a fad that you feel like you can't escape. And it becomes your personality, aka your personal reality, and you feel like you cannot escape it, and you accept life as it is, and that it won't change. But that's where you're wrong. You just have to be able to shift your focus. See, most people fall into the trap of the SAD diet, or the standard American diet, which focuses on fast food, which is cheap and high in calories, rather than nature's fast food, which are fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, and legumes that help nourish your body so then you can flourish. It's also no mistake that 90% of Americans do not eat enough fruits and vegetables according to the daily recommendations, and that's only 5 servings a day. What if I told you you can have the equivalent of 6 superfood salads all in one that's all natural, organic, whole foods? Yes, natural, organic, whole foods. And you can make and consume it in under a minute, and it only costs $4 a day. So there's no excuse that you need to shop, chop, and cook your foods because it's delivered at your front door. If this sounds good to you, check the description down below and schedule a 15-minute complimentary call so you can see how this can be a fit into your lifestyle. so you can change your personal reality and increase your energy, mood, digestion, sleep, and skin, all by focusing on your gut health, which is the cause to all your symptoms. Don't believe me? Just Google gut health blank and you'll find plenty of research articles that find a connection. Back to the video. Well, one of the best things that I've learned is how to meditate, and you meditate with the result in mind. So you envision what you want, and then you think about, you don't even have to think about how it's going to happen. You just leave it be, and then your mind is going to bring things to you. This is called the neural activating system. Have you ever wanted to get a car? Let's say it was like a black Mercedes, and you're like, man, I would love to have a black Mercedes one day. And you just looked it up online. You saw how much the price was going to be, and then you worked out how much time that was going to take in order to save that to get the black Mercedes. And then all of a sudden you start driving, you just start seeing black Mercedes after black Mercedes after black Mercedes. That's the neural activating system, or the NAS, coming to your mind. And you can do that with your imagination too. That's what your imagination does. It attracts what you think. And the more that you think of it in a positive or a negative way, because it's energy. If it's used in a positive way, that's called anticipation. If it's used in a negative way, that's called anxiety. Anxiety can be labeled as worry too. And then the positive side can be seen as enthusiasm. So are you enthusiastic? And you can really think about the positive way about being like living in faith, that positive energy that you believe that is going to happen. And then the anxiety is going to be, or the fear is the energy that you don't want it to happen. But either way, wanting it to happen is both in there. So as a result of the word being in there, it will happen. Whether you don't want it to happen, the fear, which a lot of people live in, which is the easiest way to be able to control people, through fear, worry, and doubt. Or you can live in faith, and that's, I want it to happen. So what do you will your life to be? Do you will for your students to be positive, that student that's demonstrating some behavioral issues to be transformed and do better? Or do you worry that you're going to see them and they're going to be a nuisance in the classroom? So you just have to be able to change your mind. And when you change your mindset, you're going to change your skill set and change the tool sets that you're able to use into the future. And if you want to know more about skill sets, but if you want to learn more about mindset, skill sets, and tool sets, I put it in my last video, which I will link right here. So you can go ahead and check that out as well, because I really did a deep dive on how to be able to transform your mind. And one of the quotes that I hear a lot is, as a man thinks, so is he. And that actually comes from the Bible, Proverbs 23, verse 7. And a lot of people think that it comes from Shakespeare or Aristotle, one of the great philosophers in life. But it really comes from the Bible originally. And it's just a way that you can change the way that you think, so you can change outcomes to the things that you actually want to have. To learn more information about Purium and the family of products, check out the description down below to set up a 15-minute complimentary call. And you can also check out the website. You're just one click away for a better life. Your health is too important to continue to push it off. Go ahead and check out the website and see if a product fits you. Last week I promised that I was going to do a video of the Jose Silva mind control method, but I wanted to give you a little bit of how to anticipate for the future to help you with the meditation. And I'll go ahead and do that video coming up on next week. So definitely, if you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe, and set those notifications so then when the next video drops, you'll be front and center, so you can turn these thoughts, these theories, into application, so then you can transform your life for the better and your students' lives as well. Because a lot of times we want our students to do better, but we're thinking about the negative things, we're thinking about the worry, we're thinking about the fear that we're not able to meet this, the AMOs, the double AMOs, instead of thinking with the end in mind and what it will feel like being that teacher. Because as Neville Goddard's famous book says, feeling is the way. And when you feel the positive, you become the positive, you will create the positive. So as always, stay fearfully fit and stay fearfully blessed. And as always, like, share, and subscribe.